Hi everybody, Russ and my Hammers 11. Rob, caught Rob by surprise. I hope you're all safe and well. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, hitting the bell icon so you made aware of any time of new content on. What can we talk about? Obviously, we've got the charity stuff coming up. We've got the live stream coming up on Thursday, so make sure you're watching that. That's going to be a bit of a giggle. And obviously, we're doing the stuff with Steve Krieger and Isla Fight for the My Hammers 11 print. So make sure you check out Steve's stuff. That's all the stuff done. Thanks to everyone. Obviously, continue support. Obviously, we're although the pre-match, the pre-season friendly starts soon, which seems a bit mental, but is what it is. Loads of great guests, including today's guest. It's a bit of an early Sunday for us today, so that's nice. It's Rob Lindsell. Hi, Rob. How you doing?
Yeah, not bad, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right, thank you. How's things? How you been coping in this weird world we live in now?
I haven't actually done too bad, so I've been able to work from home. So haven't really changed that much, apart from not going into the city. So
yeah, you save an absolute bundle, don't you?
Yeah.
I mean, I
was a bit rascal.
Exactly. I mean, I had to do a deferral. That everyone in our company did a little bit of a deferral to make sure everyone's all right. And I ain't really noticed it because it's like, you're not having to get into the. I mean, I go into Farringdon every day, so not having to go into Farringdon and pay for the car park, and you actually and even like the little trips to Sainsbury's or whatever for lunch. It adds up, and actually we're doing all right. But apart from that, West Ham are doing all right. We're still in the Premier League, which helps.
Yeah, not bad. I had us written off, to be fair, in lockdown. I thought we was gone, so
yeah.
I didn't see us coming back from that, so. Yeah, they always surprise us, didn't they? So
yeah, they always do, and then obviously they bugger off for the old, just as literally as they hit like full stride. It's like, right, okay, season's over, guys. Come on, everyone, go back to go somewhere nice for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, then come back. But we'll see what happens. We'll see. I'm still slightly optimistic that this season's going to be a good season for us. I don't know why.
Yeah, I mean, I put a tweet out. I think it was after the Watford game, just about Moyes. I mean, when I was younger, Moyes' Everton was always, we never beat them. From what I remember, we never beat them. So if he can recreate that, I mean, I'll put it on Twitter and I got slaughtered. Yeah. There was a few, all the anti-Moyes brigade were right after me. So, well, hopefully I'll prove them wrong. But I think you do all right.
Yeah, and it's like, I'm not being funny, right? You look at, we've tried the the big manager, and we've tried the £100 million over players, and we were all optimistic then. It didn't work. At the moment, you could buy the nicest, you could have the nicest house in the world, but if it's on really rocky foundations, it's not going to be bugger all, really. And that's, I think, the trouble with West Ham. We had these sort of, Pellegrini never really built like from the ground up. He just produced this beautiful apartment building, all the flashy stuff, but none of their sort of making sure the foundation. And that's what I think what Moisey does. He seems to sort of be a guy who comes in and builds from the ground up. And I don't know. I mean, I'm still optimistic. I think we'll be all right this season. I think I wouldn't mind a boring season. Do you know what I mean? Like a 11th or 12th.
Curbishley season.
Curbishley or Allardyce season. Just a bit of stability. I think that's what we need. A couple of seasons to build a good team, have more of those cup final days, more of the beating Tottenham, Man United, Chelsea's, double that this year, and then sort of have a nice base to move forward. But so it's not ideal, but is what it is. And I think, and actually, I know everyone sort of is gagging to get back into the stadium and stuff, but I think we've played really well since there's been no fans, and I kind of hope it stays on like that for a little bit longer.
Yeah, but I think the atmosphere at home can be quite poisonous sometimes.
I agree.
I mean, we've got me and Dad have got some people sitting around us, and I think the record we've set for this fella is 13 seconds where he's had his first whinge up. And you just think if you've got something like that, sometimes it's poisonous. You think we make one mistake and...
Yeah.
And they're the crowd gets on everyone's back, and it's a bit different when you've got 60,000 fans having a pop. It's different to the 34,000 at Upton Park, and I think it can be quite poisonous sometimes, can't it? But
I think so, and you're right. I think people have just seemed to be yeah, I mean, like Antonio would make him. He'd miss a clear cut chance. I remember a couple of games this season, and then it's no like sort of the crowd haven't got his back because there's no crowd, and then he's like, they just seem to be a lot more. I don't know what the word is. Maybe just confidence. Maybe it's just building confidence, and they were losing it quite clearly a little bit at London Stadium. But now it seems to be sky high at the moment, which is great.
Yeah.
Long may it continue. But we'll see. But I know what you mean. Sometimes people have a pop, don't they, for pop's sake? Yeah. And it's like it's all right if you're tough enough to take it. There's some guys who are tough enough to take it, but I think too often with West Ham, I think some of them just can't. Like Anderson, I think if everyone got on his back, he doesn't seem to be the strong character to just brush it off.
No,
and Haller as well. You know what I mean? It's like, and I think these guys just need. I think actually, we're going to play the first few games, that's for sure, behind closed doors, and then see what happens. But I reckon first 6 or 7 games at least will be behind closed doors, if not more, if not up to Christmas. I think I'd be surprised if we're back in before Christmas, to be honest.
Yeah,
just know what's going to happen. But
I don't think they're having away fans all season, are they? So
no.
So
not at all.
You see a lot of home wins, I think, this season for everyone.
Well, I think if the crowds go back in, if the crowds go back in, that's for sure. Yeah, I mean it hasn't really panned out. I mean, was it the German league that it was something like only like 25% of wins were home wins and stuff like that, and it seems to have leveled itself out a little bit more in the Premier League, but. I think that although sometimes I'd like them to pipe. It would be nice. I mean, it's a bit weird, but like if they piped the crowd noise from the broadcasters into the stadium, because there's nothing in the stadium. It's just pin drop. Because at least that's something. It's probably, and I know it's not real, but it's something. I think they'd, or I don't know what they do. I mean, I've seen. I think it was League of Their Own on the other day. They had them all the audience were on Zoom, but they piped through the reactions, and so you had that sort of live feedback from when someone said something funny to like applause and laughter, and it wasn't canned. And so I don't know, but I think to be honest, everyone seems to have sort of adjusted to it quite nicely. You know what I mean? It's like I quite like watching. Are you a crowd noise off or on type person?
I'm off, but my dad's on, so we usually go with on. While he's paid the bills.
Yeah, he's paid the bills that he's on. How funny.
Yeah, no.
So obviously you mentioned your dad, and the first question I always ask everyone is, why is West Ham your club? So I imagine the answer is going to be my dad's a West Ham fan. I've got my dad to
blame for this, yeah, for my weekend stresses.
Yeah.
But, yeah, nice. I was never going to be a glory hunter. I was in a West Ham kit, I think 2 hours after I was born. So I had a football with me, and just like for me, it was just every day in training, like every Saturday morning training with my football team, full West Ham kit, straight over Upton Park, about midday, 1 o'clock. And then we used to go to Nathan's Pie Mash.
Yeah.
And that's fully with my dad.
Yeah.
My uncle was Tottenham who tried to
really?
once, and it was never going to happen.
Just didn't work. Yeah, it just weren't going to work, was it? To be honest, but yeah, and I take it your dad's. So apart from obviously your uncle who's Tottenham, he's all most of his family West Ham as well. So it was always like passed down the generations. You're going to be West Ham.
Well, my dad actually grew up near Leyton Orient, so if Dad was going to go for his local team, then I would have been in a bit of trouble. But no, my granddad went over West Ham. My dad's gone over and passed down to me. And hopefully, if I have a son, he'll be going as well.
Or daughter.
Yeah, or daughter. Yeah.
My daughter's 8, and she's
2020, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. My daughter's 8, and we were at the club shop yesterday, 20% off. Buying her a shirt because I knew they'd do a deal sometime. So she had her shirt yesterday, and very happy with that. And it's a generational thing for most people, which is lovely. Do you remember your first game, Rob?
I do. So my first proper game was the FA Youth Cup win over Coventry. Oh, wow. So I was a real toddler then. And then I think my first team game was the Europa League UEFA Cup win over Jokerit, I think.
Oh, it's Jokerit, yeah.
Yeah, so I think we actually wore navy blue shorts that night with our home shirt.
If I remember, there was because they were going to put on. Because I remember speaking to someone about that, and they had a different kit, didn't they? They had like a European kit they were going to wear, and then something happens, but they still wore the shorts.
Yeah.
And so, no, it's FC Jokerit. God, we played some really random teams in that. We had them FC Berkakara, the McDonald's kit, and
I was in the cage at Astra as well. Someone actually put a tweet up the other week and of the away end at Astra, and me and my dad was in there, and I never really, because I was obviously we had the Palermo, and after that we hadn't been in Europe for years, so I was hammering my dad. I was like, "We got to go," and I'm not sure my dad was too bothered, but I think he'd done it for me. And we was in this cage and it was hot. So God knows how the players were playing. Roasting out there. And it was, we stayed in Bucharest and we got this coach. It was about 2.5 hours from coach. And we end up in this farm. It was like a farm. Did you go? Or
no, I didn't go.
It was like filled with like a stadium in there. And they just opened up this gate to let everyone in. I think you probably could have got in without a ticket that night.
Yeah. I suppose, yeah. Well, to be a fair play, if you didn't have a ticket and you went there and went to Bucharest and then a 2.5 hour coach journey into a farm, I'd have given you a free ticket, to be honest.
Yeah. But we only got one priority point after that, which I thought was a bit of a liberty, but
dude, that's well out of order.
Particularly like deserving a bit more than that.
You said like a caged animal, like you're going for a roast dinner, like you're chicken. Yeah. It was almost like that's pretty mental. But maybe those European days will come back soon. Although like it seems, everyone has this sort of desire to get into Europe, and then they don't. Apart from Wolves, they don't really go with it. Do you know what I mean? I remember Burnley did it, and they and we did it, and weren't really bothered about the qualify. It just seems like make your mind up. You're either in Europe and you go for it, or you're not, and stop moaning about. It just
I think there's a second Europa League. I think it comes out in a couple of years' time. What I've been reading about. So I think there's now a third European competition. So I think anyone who finishes in the top half in England, will end up being in Europe as well. But I mean, I can't imagine who you're going to end up playing there.
Well, it's a bit like the Intertoto, wouldn't it be then?
Yeah.
It'd be like the Intertoto, or before your time, we had the Anglo-Italian Cup, which was basically Championship versus Serie B in essence. So yeah, that's weird, isn't it? I suppose it just it's all about. I mean, Europe's great if you get the right teams, didn't you? Like Palermo was obviously a good day out, albeit in the middle of like mafia country, but don't matter. But yeah, if you got like a good
the places, was it?
No. I mean, Astra, Bucharest is, obviously Stena Bucharest. We played a few years ago in the Europa League or the UEFA Cup at that time. But yeah, we haven't really had any glamour ties. You'd want like a
I always remember being gutted because when we lost the home leg, I think the draw was either that night or the next day.
Yeah.
And we would have been in a group with Roma.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
And so you think like with West Ham and Lazio as well, everyone would have gone out there and had a great time with the Lazio fans. And
it'd have been
I'm not sure how well behaved it would have been, but
no, it'd have been it would get quite naughty, I think. But it's and also like I guarantee all the old boys will be like going out for one last, Jolly Boys outing. It'd be like that Millwall game where all the old firms turned up just for the one last hurrah. It's like, bless them. But we'll see what happens. But as I said, I wouldn't mind a curbishly boring 11th, 12th season or Allardyce era type position and a nice cup run. I think that's what everyone wants, really, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it would be nice. It would be nice. But it'd be sort of nice to try and like fall in love with the team again, because my memories was like Pardew, Redknapp. You just seem to fall in love with them teams. Like, you loved everyone in that team. I don't think there was anyone that was like a bit of a scapegoat. Everyone seemed to work hard, and you fell in love with them, like win, lose or draw. When I've come away from a few away games this year, and I've just thought like they ain't even come out here.
Yeah, I just think it's in general. I don't just think it's West Ham. I think it's across football in general. From those sort of early 2000s, for me, it's probably the Redknapp era onwards. In terms of having that sort of association with players, that sort of, someone like Ginge or someone like, who'd go to away games as well. If you weren't in the squad, he'd be in the crowd. If you get 2 or 3 years out of a player now, you've done well.
Yeah.
And so you never really build that rapport with them, I don't think.
Yeah.
Whereas, you got to think if you talk about, I don't know. You got people, even people like Anton and Elliot Wards and things of people in that era. They were coming through the youth academy. So although they may have only had half a dozen years, maybe in the first team, it was feeling that they were there for longer because you'd know they were coming. And my era was all like John Moncurdy and Bishop and people like that who were doing 9 years, at the clubs. And I just think, and I know what you mean, I do it, but I think, again, with my pro Moyes hat on, I think the guys he's bringing in seem to understand what it needs to be a West Ham favourite, like the Bowens, Součeks, obviously
just grafters, I think, grafters, just people that you see him like crawling off the pitch at the end of the game.
Totally.
And you see Anderson, like he could probably go and do 100-metre sprint after 90 minutes. So you don't see him like chasing down or anything like that. But Moyes' Everton teams, like you see the fans always, because I used to sit in the chicken run right near the away fans, and you could always see the Everton fans. They love the players. They seem to love the players, and I think we might have beaten them a couple of times, but even still, they clap the players off the pitch after a defeat. Whereas you find in, you just sort of think like you have to mind your language, really. You think like if you could.
I know what you mean,
but have a word with them.
Yeah, I totally agree. But I think that's definitely. It seems like, as I said, people like Bowen, people like Souček, and by all accounts, when Moyes was talking about people he wants to bring in, he was like saying they have to understand what it's like to be a West Ham fan, West Ham player, and you sort of sense that we've got a lot more ex-West Ham players in the setup. So obviously, bringing in someone like Stuart Pearce, like, I'm not being funny. Stuart Pearce, Kevin Nolan, and Moisey, and even Alan Irvine, he can give it out. Yeah. If you were performing at half time and you walked into the dressing room, you're gonna get stripped. Yeah, it slits his shreds ripped off you by them four, and that's what we need. You know what I mean?
I think Nolan was a bit hard done by, sort of towards the end of his time at West Ham. I think West Ham fans got on his back a little, but I think there's a lot of people that go to football that don't understand quite a bit of the game, and I don't think they realised how important Nolan was.
Totally.
I don't think they realised, and I don't think a lot of people realise to this day. I thought he was brilliant. I think he's the best captain we've had probably since Di Canio, in my opinion. In my opinion, apart from that, I don't see like people like Rhea Coker or Matthew Upson for me were waste of spaces.
Well, Matthew Upson particularly, I mean, it was always Scott Parker was put down as the captain, but it wasn't. It was Matthew Upson. Yeah. I mean, Kevin Nolan, I mean, and what I liked about him was there was he was sort of the join between the management and the team. You know what I mean? It's like he was the manager's pick. He was Sam's pick. And we knew he'd never play over Christmas. We knew he'd get booked, so he'll be suspended over Christmas. But to be honest, I didn't mind that because it showed that he was a family man and we'd spend Christmas with his kids. Fair fucking enough. You know what I mean? I'd do the same. You'd do a sickie, wouldn't you? Something like that if you had to go.
I remember when we signed him because I sort of, as a kid, I used to like them players that would sort of antagonise fans. And would sort of wind up other players. I've always for some reason, I've always sort of warmed to that. I've liked that. And I remember when we signed him, I was delighted, and my dad was fuming. He weren't happy with Nolan because he hated him for Bolton. He didn't like him for Bolton.
Yeah.
And I remember he weren't too happy when I asked for him on the back of my shirt. But then I think it was about 4 or 5 games. I don't think he turned up, Nolan. Yeah. I think he scored at Doncaster away, but I don't think his overall performances were good enough. But I remember him coming out and saying it hasn't been good enough. And it seemed like after that, he sort of like, and then you started realising like he's almost like a manager on the pitch.
Yeah.
And then I think he was vital when we first come up. And then that second season where it was a bit of a wobbly one, I think you could see how important he was to the team to keep us up, I think. So I was delighted when he come back in the back from staff.
Yeah, definitely. And you saw him, I mean, we don't know how, but obviously I think he was back, I think the first game was the Southampton game, just before lockdown. And it was just good to have another you just thought there was this new energy coming from the dugout, and it was so nice to have. And I think I totally agree with I love a bastard, and he was our bastard, wasn't he? You get that, and also I can see Nolan's influence on the team, particularly things like corners. And I went back and watched Antonio back in. Yeah, exactly. I went back and watched some highlights at West Ham, like when he was playing, and he was the Antonio position. He would be there, literally like elbows. The line, and the goalkeeper pushes him. I didn't do nothing. I just stood my ground. And Antonio does it, but I think Antonio does it better because he's stockier, so he's got a lower sense of gravity. So the goalkeepers can't push him as much because he's almost like at chest height. I think it's
trying
great.
to shift the wardrobe with him,
Yeah, exactly. God, the wardrobe. Do you remember the wardrobe? Papa Booper Diop? Might be before. Hey, good old Papa. But yeah, no, I just think, and if it means that, we're a bit, I just think we needed to be a bit nastier. I thought we was a bit of a pushover the Pellegrini era. But I think, I think people like Souček and, you can see the types of players that Moyes wants to bring in, and hopefully that continues in the next few weeks. And, they start on Tuesday. They got 2 games on Tuesday. I don't know how they're doing that, but they're splitting the squad, aren't they?
Team A, Team B, I think.
Yeah, well, I'm taking my boots just in case. By the sounds of it, it's like I could offer something different in the final third, but but it just seems that and even doing something like that, splitting the team, doing an A and B team, I like that because it shows that he's trying to give everyone a run out and give everyone a chance. And I just think, just got a feeling this year. I think I think we're playing the big teams reasonably early on as well.
I don't always think that's a bad thing.
No, me neither.
I don't think that's a bad thing because under Bilic we had a shocking start under Bilic where
we did. Liverpool, Arsenal,
and I think that set the tone for the season because we got a couple of good results, and you think actually these people were beatable. I mean, I think it was a different Premier League. No one had the dominance of City and Liverpool.
No.
And I think there was a few teams in like a bit of a recession, like Man City were under Pellegrini. I think. Chelsea had a shock. I think they finished 10th that year. Arsenal, they've been on the decline for the last 15 years. I don't think they've done anything special, and Man United. So I think that it was open, and I was praying that it weren't Tottenham were going to win.
Yeah.
Because I remember being at Leicester away, and Cresswell scored with about 5 minutes to go. And I remember we was going absolutely mad because in the stadium you get caught up in the atmosphere, and you're not actually on the phone. And then we was a bit like, oh shit.
Spurs getting on.
I think Spurs won. I think the game was on a Sunday. I think Spurs won on the Saturday. I think, oh no. And then when they got the penalty, obviously you're a bit great because you ain't won the day. We think actually, when you're on the coach home, I think we got the train over. He was like, it's not actually the worst thing here. It's not the worst thing.
Take that.
And a draw away at Leicester wasn't a bad result in that.
No,
season.
not at all. Not then. No, of course not. No, I know what you mean. And I think the HIV is what I hope we do is obviously we've got. Because you've got a couple of games, and then you've got the third round of the League Cup is like the 16th or something like that. So, and that's the trouble with the League Cup because by January, by the time the FA Cup comes around, you sort of know how your season's panning out, don't you?
Yeah.
You know, and you don't, and so that's why I think a lot of people, a lot of like sort of our division, our sort of bottom, 10th to about 20, don't really care about the League Cup because they're trying to get points first. By January, if you're doing all right in January, you'll have a go. You'll have a go in the Cup. But with the League Cup, I just think that it's there for the taking. It really is. No one really gives a shit about the Cup.
Yeah, I share the same opinion. I think as well. I think if you could, there's a way you could give it a go. If you're having a good start to the season. Then why not? Because I think if you've got a centre forward to score and stick him in the League Cup, and if he gets another 2 or 3, regardless of who he gets, if the striker scoring goals, he's going to be happy. Yeah. So I've always questioned, and I think it was probably Wenger that first started doing that with the League Cup. So I always remember the League Cup being taken quite seriously when I was younger.
Yeah.
I think it was Wenger that first started putting the kids in and sort of not really paying that much attention to it. So I hope it does get a bit of importance back, but. Maybe they need to delay it a bit, or.
Well, yeah, it's. I think it's always difficult, isn't it, with that? Because there's so many rounds and stuff, and there's so many people involved, and we'll see. But I think you're right. I think if you go for it,
it's the quickest route into Europe, really. I think
it is. Yeah,
you win it.
It is, and also, I mean, you just get, and also, as you said, it just keeps momentum going. You know what I mean? It's like if you're say we beat Newcastle on the first game of the season, then I think it's the next game. So it could be at home, it could be away, but it doesn't matter because no one's going to go. There'll be no fans there, but at least it will keep the momentum going.
I think we're the only club whose first game of the season is a must-win game.
Yeah, it's a good shout. Yeah,
Every single year.
yeah. That's the first you do. You look at the first game and go, okay, who we got? Who could we lose to? It's always Liverpool or Arsenal usually, isn't it? And then you look in May, okay, who we've got to beat to stay up? And we got Southampton at home. Okay, our running in May is all right. We ain't got a bad running in May. So if it's still looking dodgy in April, we've still got a nice May coming, hopefully. But
I remember getting the fixtures on Thursday, and I think one of my friends, Aaron, he sort of found out quite early on, I think, that we had Newcastle.
Yeah.
And then he said to me, "But wait till you see the others." So I was happy, and then I thought, "Oh, great." And then I had a look. I didn't expect it to be as bad as that. But then you get them out of the way. But I think fixtures are a weird one because you have actually got to pay everyone twice. So as long as you turn up for the games and you get the results in the games you need to get results in, it doesn't really matter, does it?
It doesn't matter what order.
It's definitely a mental thing, isn't it? So
yeah, it is. You look at a block of a really good team, you know, oh god. But actually, all you got to do is get, you know, West Ham 70% of the time will turn up to those games.
Yeah.
So actually, I'd rather have a strong, you know, like start because or a strong, you know, opposition. If we had Newcastle, which we did, if we had Newcastle, Burnley, Southampton, West Brom, Sheffield United, you know, we'd be like, oh, it's great. That's 15 points. It's not for West Ham.
No.
It's not for West Ham.
No.
Liverpool, Arsenal, Tottenham, Chelsea, mate, we've got more chance to get 15 points for that.
Well, I remember Bilic's first season looking at the fixtures and we kept beating the hard clubs.
And
then, so I think we beat Arsenal away and then we come back relishing Leicester because of they just ended up on the skin of the team. You think if we play like that at the Emirates, we lost 2-1. Then didn't we win Liverpool? Was it Liverpool we won out or was it City? One of the two.
Yeah, beat City. Yeah, beat City away.
Lost to Bournemouth at home and then it was.
It's just the West Ham way, though. It's the West Ham way.
And that's what my dad's taught me all the time. So
exactly, God, yeah, so many of them. Right, let's go on to the Hammers 11. So as I said, the idea is the whole point of the channel is, he says 27 minutes in, is we pick everyone we interview picks their West Ham 11. So it can be whatever you want it to be. It doesn't have to be the best 11. It doesn't have to be. It can be your grafters 11, or you know, we've had fancy Dan 11s or French Hammers 11. It doesn't really matter. But it's 11 players for you. The only rule is you have to be alive to have seen them play. So that being said, it just means that we don't all put Bobby Moore in our team.
Yeah,
pretty much. You know, it doesn't always work out because
I've gone for an 11 that I've seen live and just that I've sort of loved them really.
Yeah,
for the weirdest reasons. Obviously, I'll go through them, but
close to your heart 11. I like that.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
I think that's what people like. They like the close. They like that because everyone has a certain. You know, some people look at people like, you know. I mean, for example, me. One of my true West Ham loves was Pete Butler, and people go, "Oh, yeah, I remember him. Oh, yeah." But you know, it's not like first and everyone's, and that's what I like. Everyone has slightly different loves of players for different reasons and stay there. Yeah, we'll have a go. Right, let's start off in goal then. Rob, who we got in goal?
I've gone for Rob Green.
Yeah.
Just that he used to save penalties, and I think that's probably the safest we've ever felt with a keeper.
Yes.
Obviously, pre-World Cup, obviously he was a bit shaky after, but then I still think he still turned in great performances after.
Yeah.
I don't think Fab's been there long enough. I think if Fab stays for a few more years, then Fab will probably.
I don't think it will last a few more years. I'll be honest. I think he's 36 now, isn't he? So I think he's got another season, 2 seasons max with us. But I know what you mean about Rob. And that's trouble with goalkeepers. They make one mistake and it's highlighted.
Yeah.
If Agbona misses a pass,
as well,
exactly.
On the World Cup stage.
But if Agbona misses a pass or Antonio misses a shot, it's like, if a goalkeeper miscues something, it's in the back of the net, usually, isn't it? So, but I like him. I like Rob Green. I love the way he just don't take himself too seriously.
Yeah, he was a penalty saver as well. Even when teams were getting penalties, you still thought
there's a chance.
Yeah, he could save this. And I think he was even one with Defoe, I think, as well, right in front of the Tottenham fans, which obviously goes down well, doesn't it? So right back, I've gone for Tommy Repka.
Ah, lovely.
Loved him. Absolutely loved him.
Bless me. Yeah. Tommy Repka, God bless him.
I think he's inside now for probably one of the weirdest reasons I've ever heard.
Yeah, I think his reputation has has not preceded him. He's got even stronger since retiring from football, because it's just some of the stuff he's done. You're thinking, I think we got off lightly, you know. Like,
we're that surprised. He was a bit of a nutter on the pitch, wasn't he? So
he was, but you just assume when people are nutters on the pitch, someone like, I don't know, someone always talks about, you know, someone like Julian or Billy Bonds or people like that. You know, once they crossed the white line, they were, you know, headstrong, going to tackle, don't give a shit, put their body on the line, and they walk off the pitch, and they're just humble family men. And for, I don't know why, I thought Repka was a little bit like that, foolishly. But then, yeah, he's he's just this legend, this myth of Thomas Repka. Yeah. It's just, you know, when he's been, so he's blackmailed. He blackmailed his girl, his ex-wife.
Something like that. He posted it all over the internet, didn't he?
Yeah, and he tried to sell a hire car, I believe, as well. And there was something with guns and drugs or something. Yeah,
it's not surprising, is it?
Nah, he's probably the only one you go, yeah, fair enough. But,
I always used to, especially when he was playing front of the chicken run, if there was like a winger, and I think this is obviously when the boots started changing colour, you get like some winger with pink boots or lime green boots. You knew he was ending up in the chicken run in the first 5 minutes. Just Repka would just wipe him out. He'd probably get a yellow card in the first 5 minutes and then behave himself for the rest. But yeah, no, I've got fond memories of him just for being a complete nutcase, to be honest.
But he loved the club. He loved West Ham.
I wish he would have scored in the playoff final because he hit the post, didn't he?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That would have been nice. I would have liked that.
Bless him. Good old Tommy Repka. All right, who's next?
Centre back, I've gone for Rio.
Yep.
I reckon I caught his last season, I think.
Yeah, you probably would have done,
I don't remember too much of it, but I've got the season reviews at home, and I've watched it, and I just think it would be wrong not to put him in, considering I have seen him live. So I can't not put him out. I think he was brilliant. And he achieved everything I think we all expected him to achieve when he left. So I've got some spot for Rio. Going with Rio, I've gone with Ginge.
Yep.
Met him a few times as well at player awards and stuff like that, and he was exactly how you expected him to be. World-class person. Yeah. Put his body in the line, going into stuff head first, and just absolute warrior. And I also remember sort of when the things were going on with the ball. I think we might have been Brighton away, or there was somewhere, and he come over and was like, I know. And he was just sort of like telling West Ham fans to keep their chin up, and that's what West Ham fans want, just someone that can relate to them. And
you want someone in the team who you think's got your back, ain't you? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I think he's one of those. I think, you know, he always seemed to have a really good rapport with the fans, and he was just like, as you said, like a lovely bloke, and he just got West Ham. You know what I mean? It's there's not many people in the modern day who just understand the West Ham fans, and he just got it. You know.
Yeah,
I mean, he still lives in the area, and you know, despite the fact he came from Cardiff and stuff like that as well, you know, it's not like he's from round here, but just got us as fans, and that makes a huge difference.
I think as well, there was a few times, I mean, especially the last season at the Boleyn, but there was a few times when you come out and you think, if he was 22 and 23 putting them performances in, he wouldn't be at us. He'd be somewhere much better. I mean, he put himself in front of everything. And he scored a lot of goals as well. I mean, I think he used to be a centre forward.
I think we threw him up a little bit.
I think I did think when he was younger, but he's great header, absolute beast. And I think when we got promoted and we re-signed him, I thought that was a great signing from Allardyce.
Yeah,
just a proper Premiership centre half, ruthless.
He came back a better player, I think. You know, he came back a more West Ham player. You know, he came back more rugged. He had a skinhead. He had a ginger beard, and he was never blistering for pace, but he's just had this heart, and you know, in the same ilk as, you know, Alvin Martin towards the end of his, you know, he just had that sort of veteran look about him, which I think endeared him more than I don't remember much of him before the second spell. I don't remember the first spell being, because I think Gabardon would take,
I think Gabardon was the preferred one with Anthony. Yeah. I remember his last game for West Ham was, I think it was Blackburn up at Ewood Park, and it's probably the most boring game I've ever been to. It was 0-0 under Zola. And he was brilliant because we was right under it with 10 minutes to go.
Yeah.
He was throwing himself out of everything. And then I think on the Wednesday, we'd got 5 million for him. And I think we was in a bit of financial trouble, I think. So I think that's half the reason why we had to ship him off. But me and Dad just could not believe it was like 5 million.
Yeah.
Like, especially after just seeing the performance he put in at the week as well. And
Totally.
You know, and I think, And I think the season we went down, we missed him. The season after when we went down, I think we missed the centre half that just threw himself in front of everything because we didn't have that.
No.
So my left back's a bit controversial.
Love it.
Aaron Cresswell.
I don't think that's controversial.
Well, I think he's getting a bit of stick in it.
He's now
season.
Yeah.
It's a toss up between him and Conch. I was gutted when we sold Konchesky. I thought he was brilliant. I think he got so many assists when like whipping them balls in. But Cress for me, the last season at the Bowling, real. And we haven't been blessed with fullbacks at West Ham, so
no.
But Cressy for me, I like him, and as I said, when I've met him as well, he's exactly how I expected him to be, and really down to earth. And I do think he's a grafter. Whether West Ham fans, you can slate someone for having a bad game, but I don't think you can question his work ethic. I think
I agree.
He has lost that yard of pace. I think he was about 23, 24 when we signed him, and he's been about 4 or 5 years. He's lost a yard of pace, but he'll still do a job.
Oh yeah, I mean, as you said, again, he's unfortunately, as so often the case with most West Ham players, injuries played a huge part on him, and he has lost a yard of pace. I still like the fact that he's versatile enough to play in that back three if Moyes ever goes to a back three. Because I just think he offers something a bit. It's less running for him, and I think he reads the game quite well. But yeah, you're right. I mean, we have been blessed, but I don't ever question his effort. At all. And I
think I ever saw Julian Dix play. So
no, exactly, and that's the idea. Because otherwise, you put him in. It's
testimonial. I'm not sure, but I don't think that counts. But...
No, but I think you're right, and it's nice to actually give someone. That's the idea of putting that sort of caveat in that it gives people a chance to talk about Aaron Cresswell or Herita Ilunga or George McCartney, or whoever, Wayne Quinn, whoever they want to talk about. And so, I mean, I think Cress is. He's technically Winston on loan, isn't he? So I think Cress is our third longest serving servant after.
Well, I think if he sees his contract out, I think he's due a testimonial.
I think he's been at least 6 or 7 years with us already.
I'd like to see him get one, to be honest.
It'd be nice. It would be nice.
I think he's quite an honest player and he's not lazy. I wouldn't have him down as lazy. I'd like to see him get one, to be quite honest.
Yeah, that's a good shout.
Yeah, so I've gone for a diamond midfield.
Oh, very technical. Go on then.
Very technical. I thought about this. So I've gone for Scotty Parker.
Yeah.
I did want to fit Nobes in there, but I think just the players I've got in here, I don't think Nobes stands a chance. Bless you, I don't think so. I've gone for Scott Parker holding.
Yeah.
Again, he had chances to leave us when he did, and I've got a bit of a bee in my bonnet about players that leave West Ham and go to Tottenham.
Really?
I've got a bee in my bonnet, and I think it does tarnish it a bit, but I like the fact he saw it out until the end of August. And it's almost like he made sure we was all right before he left.
Yeah. I mean, he played
4 or 5 games, I think, before in the Championship before he left. So if anyone's going to get away with it, it's going to be him. So.
But the thing is, Rob, going back to your dad's era, Martin Peters left to go play for Tottenham.
But I think,
and he's revered. Bobby Moore was looking to leave to go to Tottenham, and he's got a fucking stand named after him. Do you know what I mean? So it does. I mean, I know you've got a bit, and that's fair enough. It ilks me a little bit when people do that, but I understand why. Totally get it why.
I always feel like Martin Peters isn't spoken of as highly as Jeff Hurst and Bobby Moore. But if Bobby Moore was
possibly,
I think it'd be the same. But I always feel like a lot of people talk about Moore and Hurst. And then he's always a third. He went to Tottenham after, so
that's good. That's a good shout. No, I like that. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. But yeah, it was good. Yeah, Scotty, man, lovely guy, and obviously he'll be back at the London Stadium.
Yeah,
with Fulham. Good luck to him.
And I think he could end up being a future West Ham manager. I think
I'd love him to be. I wouldn't be
surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be unhappy with it either.
No, I think,
considering he probably was the manager when Grant was supposed to. I think Grant was asleep and Parker was doing the sessions, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Or Grant was in the brothel.
Sorry, yeah, I mean, but it's allegedly. Yeah, no, it's. I just think with Scott, I just think he is made to be a West Ham manager. I really just think he just has this Britishness about him, but not like, it's weird. I judge managers by what they wear in the dugout. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if I was putting Scott Parker and Eddie Howe together, up against each other, I'd always rate Scotty Parker more than Eddie Howe. But Scotty Parker was always done in a suit, shirt and tie. And I don't know what it is. And I always remember Pellegrini as well. When he was a team against like Burnley, he'd be in like a tracksuit. It was almost like he didn't give a shit about it. But if we were playing Man City, he'd be all dolled up, it's little things like that. I just like, but Scott Parker, always really well turned out. He'd always be in a shirt and tie. Doesn't matter who you play, or a nice polo shirt. You know what I mean? Nice polo shirt. And no, I think it'd be a good manager at West Ham. I really do.
And I think we always do better under British managers as well.
Yeah, I agree.
It's not a racist.
No, it's not. No, I think it is.
We always seem to do better under British managers. So
yeah, I think it's that workman sort of work. We are in essence, West Ham is a working class team. We're a working class club, and I think you bring in continental managers or managers of a certain ilk, and they just don't match up well. That's why I'm quite pro Moyes. I think he's got that workman-like attitude, which I think West Ham fans will. Yeah, he's not the most glamorous, but I'm not being funny. You look at the probably most successful managers over the last most recent period. Harry was obviously, I wouldn't call Harry a glamorous manager. No. Pards, not particularly glamorous. Big Sam, not, and it's like, we don't do well under, I mean, Slav was like, I think Slav had that foot. I mean, he was fortunate in the fact that he was in that season where everything was heightened. All the performances were heightened because it was the last time we're playing Everton at Upton Park and stuff like that.
I think Slav was stitched up, in my opinion.
Yeah.
If you look at that summer transfer window, that was horrendous.
It was. It wasn't the right thing to do, was it? You would have assumed you would have gone all guns blazing, wouldn't you? Just to
I
make
agree
sure.
with, because I know the way they put it to the fans. We need to get like depth. Like strength in depth, but some of the like Nordveit, the state of that fella on a football pitch. I agree.
But someone like Toure, when Gorkan Toure, everyone was buzzing.
I wasn't disappointed with that because we go to Turkey every year.
Yeah.
And the waiters loved him, and when they thought I was out in Turkey,
same as me,
to sign him. So that was he's brilliant.
Exactly, it just didn't work out. Did it?
One of them.
And even like Faguli, I think Faguli was given a rough ride because I think actually he was a bloody good player, and we had some good players. It just didn't click. And it's the same. Every team when they move into a new stadium, that first season it don't work. It just doesn't work.
No.
Every
game you play 38 away games in that first season.
You do, and everything's new, and so I think it was. And then I think you need a different type of manager. You needed a manager who wasn't going to be trying to be your best mate. And that's what I thought Slav was. He was always trying to be the players' best mates. And I saw the passion. Of course, you saw the passion. But I didn't see him then shout at everyone else. So I don't know. Anyway, we'll put Parker in. Parker's in. Who's next?
Joe Cole.
Yep, Joey.
Got him as like an attacking midfielder there. I loved him. He did things with a football I didn't even think were possible. So, and I love hearing the stories. I think I was listening to Razor Ruddock the other night talking about when he come in as like a 15, 16-year-old, who was training with the first team and just like doing one-on-ones with all the centre halves at the time and completely sending them for hot dogs and stuff like that. And he's another one that I met before, but I met him down the high road close to where I live. And it's a bit weird because I stalked him for about half hour. I just followed him because I didn't have the nerve to go and speak to him.
Yeah.
I even bought a milkshake at the same organic. Well, I didn't even drink it, but I just wanted to get in the queue with him. And then I got talking to him, and he was exactly how I hoped he was. He was so nice, and as they say, don't meet your heroes, but he was just like world class. He was. I loved him.
Yeah,
And
no,
I don't blame him for me. In my opinion, he should have been as good as Hazard.
he should have been. He should have been. I think.
Opinion.
Yeah, no, I think it'd been better. Honestly, I just think. I think he came in an era that was changing in football. If he was there a couple of years before, he would have been in that era where every team, all the good teams, had a free role player. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Had a player who didn't have a position, just go out and play, and that's how Joe should have been dealt with. And he sort of was at West Ham. But when we went to the bigger clubs, the Chelsea's, they put him into a position. He doesn't play well in a position. And I
wish England would have played him more, because I think he was what we was missing. Because when we had,
he
ended up like alternating it between Gerrard, Scholes, and Lampard, who played out on the left. And I think he could have put Joe Cole in there. But I think we had such a golden generation for England.
That's what I mean. He was there to.
Instead of upsetting people,
yeah,
he kept all the big names happy. And if you would have put Joe Cole in now, I think that took, especially 2002 and maybe 2004, we could have won them. I think they were taking. So
yeah, I totally agree.
Alongside him, I've got Payet.
Oh, Dimmy.
Yeah, I can't. He gave me my favourite season as a West Ham fan, without doubt. It was because of him. If he weren't there, it wouldn't have been. It wouldn't have been.
It would be the same.
I think that was probably one of the seasons I did most of my away games, and for a West Ham fan going to games expecting to win, that does not happen.
No, you're right.
So I knew I had to cherish it at the time, and I always knew at some point there was going to be some sort of Slav press conference saying that he's either put in a transfer request or got to go. So I just appreciated him while we had him. And
exactly, he was that type of player. He was just like
I can't hate him, because people like Defoe. I've got to be the only West Ham fan that doesn't hate Frank Lampard, by the way. But if people like Defoe can't stand him, but with him, I don't know what it is. I think just maybe because of what he actually did for us. I can't hate the man. I can't.
I think it's also because you sort of know it was coming, because he did the same thing with Marseille to come to us.
Yeah, and there's always a problem with that, isn't it? Because it's like a repeat offender. That's sort of our narrative about him.
Exactly, and you get that with those sort of mercurial players. You know, maybe because they're foreign-based players, you know, they're more susceptible to moving. They're more petulant. They'll throw their toys out the pram. Because you've seen it with Arsenal's. You know, that's why West Ham always used to play well against Arsenal, because they'd getting a bit niggly with them.
Yeah,
and they all got very sort of temperamental, and you know you're going to get that with someone like Payet. So he was waiting for the inevitable.
I loved him.
You're right. What he gave us was amazing.
Yeah, I nearly had my nose broken when he put that free kick in at Man United. One of my mates elbowed me, but it was one of them things where I just did not care. I couldn't believe what I'd witnessed, and then the nosebleed comes second to that. I could not believe what I'd witnessed.
You literally bled for West Ham.
Literally. But I remember we come out, and I remember saying to my dad, and I was just like, "Who are we to be disappointed with a 1-1 draw at Old Trafford?
Yeah,
that doesn't happen." And after that, when we sort of knew things were going on in the background, and I mean, I heard through like a few people that my dad knows, and some people that I know, that I think he was quite murdering that last season. So I think he was requesting new contracts every 2 weeks, and I think apparently he was murdered, but I still can't hate him, so I can't. Yeah,
no, it's true. It was just one of those things, wasn't it? But I think you're right. If you think about what he delivered as a player, considering he's only there for a season and a half max, the impact he had on, because he was such a good player. He was the best player I've ever seen, technically, at West Ham.
I would like to have seen him under someone like Pellegrini, Pellegrini coached the likes of Ronaldo and
would have been good. Yeah, you're right.
Because I think Pellegrini oversaw that new Galactico era at Real Madrid.
Yeah.
So he had them stars, and I think they got a record points total without winning. They didn't win anything, but got a record points total without winning the league. So he knew how to manage these people. Would love to have seen what he did with Payet. I would love to have seen that, especially with Manu and Payet, because they linked up brilliantly. And so in front of them, I've gone for Paolo.
Good old Paolo.
Hence the reason I've got this shirt.
And that's the thing. It's funny, it's shirts. I'm crap at seasons. When someone says, "Oh, what was the 2006?" I was like, oh. But if someone shows me his shirt, I'll be like, oh yeah, that's Paolo's shirt.
Yeah.
That's famously one of his shirts that I
he was what I sort of first fell in love with when going over West Ham. It was always badgering my dad on the way. Is Paolo playing, and yeah, it was. And again, I've always sort of loved them sort of players that sort of don't go with the usual trend. He was sort of like he'd throw his arms up in the air and he'd show his emotion, and like even I watch videos of him on YouTube now. Even we win like 1-0 against like a scrapey 1-0 against a team we should have batted 4-0. He's still like very passionate. He's just got the win. I do think there's a manager there with him, but I think he needs a number 2 to rein him in.
Yeah.
Because he's like, by all accounts at Sunderland, it was a bit carnage. But again, I think he was hard done by at Sunderland. I think that he had a list of players he wanted, and like when you ask for Jermaine Defoe and Josie Altidore turns up, like he's completely different, isn't it? So that was a bit of a poison chalice, I think, for him with the way that club was being run. But I think there's a manager in there.
I think with Paolo, I think you're right. I think he's got so much passion for the game, and if there's a way to funnel that passion into the right way, because I think he's also one of those players. I mean, don't forget, we only got in because he pushed over a referee, so he had form coming in. But I think with Paolo, you're right. He's got such a passion for the game that's undeniable, and I think if there's a way you can channel it into, because I think the trouble is he'd want everyone to have that same passion who's playing. If they didn't, he'd shout them, wouldn't there? There'd be problems.
But I do think the modern day player trains a lot harder than what they did in the late 90s.
Yeah.
Because you hear all these stories about like a Tuesday club and stuff like that. I don't think that goes on these days. I think there's too many ways of testing them and finding out what the players have been up to. I think a modern day player would suit a manager like Di Canio if it's channeled in the right way.
Exactly, yeah.
So,
and that's the only thing that worries me about Pep as a manager. So I don't think it would be often, and you'll get a lot of, players, because I think although they're more professional, I think they're more sensitive than they were. I think the 90s, I've interviewed Monks and Mad Dog and all them lot, Bish, and the ribs and the piss takes. That was all part of that game. And they did do the Tuesday, and Bish would train with a packet of polos in his pocket in case the manager came over, and he'd throw half a dozen in because he knew he would be in the booze. But then they could give it, and I think it's the other side. Yeah, it's uber professional now, and they are fine. They are machines, aren't they? They're finely tuned machines, and I think they're so at this level where they're professional footballers. I mean, I used to live in Loughton, and I live in Hornchurch now, but in Loughton I could walk around, and I used to. But you bump into Joe Cole having an organic milkshake, or be in Safeways and Shaq will be doing his shopping, now footballers they all live in Canary Wharf, and
they've got people who do it for them now.
And so they're up there, and so if you criticise them, they don't like it anymore. So I think there's a balancing act, but I would love to see Paolo in some capacity in a football club. I don't know what. But you're right, because someone has so much passion for the game that it's a shame that he's not involved more so than just an analyst for Sky is Hallier. Do you know what I mean? But
I won't spend too long on the next one because I don't think he only had about 6 months of actually turning up. But Tevez, 6 months, one of the best players in the shirt. Exactly. Literally about 6 months. So I remember when we signed him. I knew about him because I used to play Pro Evolution all the time. They had all the South American teams, and I knew about him. And I couldn't believe we'd signed him because he was rumoured to go over. I think he was rumoured to go to all the big English clubs, then the Milans and the Madrids and Barças. Yeah. Then he turned up at us. And I think initially he was going to sign on loan, and then it was permanent. And I remember being in a shot. And then I remember for the first 6 months being like, I think they've got it confused. I don't think this is the right Tevez.
Yeah.
Because he just did not turn up, and certain games stick out, like Bolton away being one of them, losing 4-0 there in November, I think, icy cold, and he just didn't even turn up. And but then there was something, that free kick against Tottenham seemed to click him in action, and so but he kept us up, and I've got a soft spot for him. He won the best strikers I've ever seen in the West Ham shirt.
And... he was, and I just think Actually, I think it was because Pard signed him and then Curbs took over, and I think Curbs just treated him in the right way. I mean, I remember Tevez was like a Tasmanian devil. It was like all over the pitch, and it just didn't work. And it was almost a bit like how Moyes did the same thing with Arnie. He's like, right, you just stay up front. When you get the ball, that's final third. That's your domain, and he just seemed to be a different player. And he was just unlucky as well, wasn't he? I remember loads of times he hit the post or just missed, and and then when that goal gets that free kick went in, it just release. But he tried. The thing is, he was just
it's just like that's all West Ham fans want at the end of the day. Really, they just want someone that's going to put 100% in, and you knew that with Tevez because he was like a bulldog. We were running around everywhere and. Like as you said, like there's so many times I remember him hitting the post and hitting the bar. I think he even hit the bar against Palermo at home. I think if I remember rightly, but just little time you think like it will happen at some point. And then when it did, Christ, it like almost erupted, didn't it? But
also, I mean, speaking to a lot of the players, I think a lot of players who were around during that time, and they speak of Carlitos as being. A real team player, despite the fact he couldn't speak a word of English. I mean, always remember Anton when I interviewed him, and Carlos was so wanting to get in the team spirit that he went when they used to go to a nightclub in London, and he turned up the first time with his translator, and he's on the dance floor like sweating buckets with his translator next to him, talking to them, and she'll communicate to Anton what he was saying. And it's like I love stories like that. It was just amazing. But
apparently Mascherano was quite similar. Apparently
he didn't. I mean, Anton wasn't so glowing about Javier. It may have just been he tried. It just didn't because he wasn't getting the team as well, was he? So it's difficult. But he was. Carlitos definitely. Right, who's the last person then?
Last one, and I wish he played with Tevez. Was Dean Ashton.
Yeah, good shout.
Loved him. Just a proper centre forward. Matt, beefy, had a bit of pace as well. I think it must have been a nightmare for defenders, but you know if he got the ball in and around the box, that was going in.
Yeah. Totally.
He was a born goal scorer, and I think he would have gone on to have been a West Ham legend.
Mm. And England as well.
I think he would have gone to Euros and he would have gone to
definitely
with England. I think because I think he would have been perfect for someone like Wayne Rooney to hover around. And
totally.
So there's and then obviously seeing that the testimony of Ricky, you just think what could have been really. So
it was. I mean, he was. Out of everyone I've seen play for West Ham, it was like forwards, he was the complete striker in my opinion. I mean, I saw a second bit of Tony Cottee and things like that, but obviously people like Hernandez, but he had the pace. He wasn't like rapid, but he had enough to beat a defender, didn't he? He had a good turn. He was skillful. He was big, so he could hold the ball up. He did the bicycle kick, Man United. He could hold it. He could header. He could play. It was brilliant. It was just again a tragic shame.
I think as well. I think Freddie Sears might have come on a little bit if Dino would have been fit because, and I think that might have damaged Freddie Sears a little bit with him not being able to play with him because I think there was a good player in Freddie Sears as well. So
there was, and also they had Ashton and Bellamy together, and you're thinking that would have been a real tasty up two pairing, sort of our version of the.
I don't think they ever
Machiavelli.
From memory.
I think they played like maybe a couple of times, literally 2-3 times, if that, but. They were brought together. You could see that was the idea, and it would have worked, and it would have been awesome. But
Bellamy's up there for me, but I don't know. I think just for the importance that Tevez had on that season, I think.
Totally.
And
totally.
Bellamy's a close second, along with Bobby Zamora, I think as well.
Was he, man? Yeah, and that's it. That's it, Rob. That's it, man. Cheers, man. Just under an hour. Time flies when you have fun with this.
Yeah.
But cheers, man. Thanks.
I'm boring my girlfriend with it since lockdown, so.
Brilliant.
She's got a day off today, so.
That's all right. Typical. It's all done now. Okay, well, that's good. At least you'll have a day off as well. You don't have to think about it anymore. And cheers, man. Obviously, thanks to everyone else for watching. Like, share, subscribe, whether you're watching on YouTube or listen to it on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, all that stuff. And until next time, for me and Rob, take care, everybody. Stay safe. Come in your wines, and we'll see you again very, very soon.
Hello.
Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.